Hi, everybody. Meteorologist Joe Cioffi here. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. And we have two standout features on the satellite loop this afternoon. Of course, the obvious one is down in the Gulf of Mexico, just off the coast of Alabama and Mississippi, and just east of the southeast Louisiana coast, and that is Hurricane Sally. It has been literally inching its way to the coast. You could walk faster than this system is moving. It is less than 100 miles from the coastline, and it has just been producing tons and tons of rain on the Gulf Coast from eastern Mississippi over toward Alabama, and particularly on the Florida Panhandle, because they're getting into all this really strong outflow. The other thing that stands out is actually impacting our weather, and of course, that has been the ongoing wildfires in California. And with the upper flow the way it is coming from the west northwest, that those the smoke is getting taken up into the northern plains and then right across the northeast and mid-Atlantic states. And you can see it here on the satellite view because we should be the way it looks back through here in parts of Utah where skies are clear, but there's this haze layer that has developed all across the country, and there's really nothing that's going to change this over the next several days or longer for sure until the upper pattern breaks in a way that it brings some rain into the California coast and puts out those wildfires. Either that or the flow from the northwest has to relax. We're going to have this haze layer around for quite a while, and it's going to make for some rather interesting looking sunrises and sunsets. And meanwhile, in the daytime, when it should be partly to mostly sunny, you're dealing with the hazy sunshine. Paulette, by the way, is still out there as a hurricane well to the east of Bermuda and moving away. It's going to eventually weaken as it becomes post-tropical, and it may actually stall out and turn southward down into the Atlantic. This is the year where all sorts of strange things are going on. Now, as far as the rainfall is concerned, take a look at what the weather prediction folks are talking about. This is a 7-day rainfall forecast, but obviously what you see in the southeast U.S. and down to the Gulf Coast, this is all front end loaded. That's an additional 10 to 15 inches of rain on top of all the rain that they have had so far. And with respect to Sally, the center of Sally, just looking at the wind field here, has been sitting right in there. And there you see where the southeast coast of Louisiana is. It's moving northwest at about 2 or 3 miles an hour. Now, eventually, the upper flow, which right now is very, very weak, is going to strengthen just enough to start pushing this more northward and bringing it inland, probably along the Alabama Gulf Coast. And when we're looking at some of the winds here, top winds with Sally are about 80 miles an hour. A couple of the buoys out here reporting gusts of 70 to 80 miles an hour. But you got to be careful with those wind gusts because the towers go up pretty high on those oil rigs. So elevation is important. Coastal wind gusts have been running at about 25 to occasionally up to 40 miles an hour. Manageable, of course, but the big story here has been the rain. The intensity models start to weaken Sally, of course, and certainly once it goes inland, it does continue to weaken. And here are the forecast tracks from the latest hurricane models from this afternoon, all turning it sharply to the right and eventually taking it off the North Carolina coast, or at least the bulk of the models do that. Sally right now, as of 2 p.m. Eastern time, 29.2, 88.2, top winds 80 miles per hour, moving to the northwest at 2 miles an hour. And there you can see the area of heavy rain that is being indicated. Now, as far as our weather is concerned, we got it easy here. The weather here in the eastern part of the United States, for the most part, is going to be bone dry probably through the middle part of next week. We have high pressure overhead today. Of course, we had a cool night with temperatures that bottomed out in the 40s and low 50s in many locations, and not getting out of the 60s this afternoon. We should make it back into the 70s tomorrow, as the winds become a little more southwesterly. But here comes the next cold front for Thursday, and that's going to move on through. And of course, at the same time, you have the moisture from Sally moving up northeastward with a frontal low that's going to develop and pretty much absorb the whole thing. But that is going to be pushed out off to the east, and we're going to get into another big high building in here. So Thursday, we could see temperatures that, depending on how much cloud cover we have and the haze layer, probably getting up into the 70s. Maybe a few spots get close to 80, but then this is a nice, cool, big high with dry weather and sunshine for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, into Tuesday of next week. On the lower right, you see what will probably be Hurricane Teddy and maybe a major hurricane, and that is going to come close to Bermuda when this is all said and done. So as long as we hold on to the upper air pattern that is set up across the United States, where things are just kind of moving along from west to east with not too much interruption. Shortwave troughs or in southern Canada are just bringing through cold fronts, and the tropical moisture is staying trapped to the south. You can see here on the flow, it's pretty much from the northwest right through the weekend and into early next week. Kind of flattens out a little bit, and then it just comes right back as we go on to the long range. Models have been trying to show something dropping down into the middle Mississippi and Ohio Valley here, some kind of trough later in the forecast period. Whether that's real or not at this point is something that we're not sure of. So we'll just wait and defer to the future model runs to see where this is all going to take us. So yeah, we got sunshine, but we got that smoke layer. What can you do? Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. And again, a nice stretch of weather that's going to take us overall, that's going to take us right into the middle part of next week without too much difficulty. Joe and Joe Weather Show tonight coming up at 7 o'clock Eastern Time on my YouTube channel, Joe Cioffi. And just a reminder for Patreon members or anyone thinking of joining my weather platform on Patreon, if you subscribe for a full year, you get a 15% discount. Have a great day, everybody. And that's at patreon.com/meteorologist Joe Cioffi.